Hello friends, welcome to the world of project management and for a overview session on project stakeholder management. Motto of this training is to share my experience in preparing for PMP certification and have prepared few slides. Friends, let's start with my introduction. I'm Anil Kumar Dharam based in the city of Nizam's Hyderabad, working in IT for 14 years and currently working as project lead and manager from last 4 years. I succeeded in my certification in 2019 last year and supporting two major projects currently and giving training on SAP and project management. Let's quickly move to our agenda for this session that we are going to discuss on introduction to stakeholder management, processes involved in stakeholder management, key concepts, trends and emerging practices, tailoring considerations, consideration of agile or adaptive environment, and activities involved in complete project stakeholder management as per the Rita Mulchay chart. Let's start. First, we will discuss what is a stakeholder management. The project stakeholder management includes the processes required to identify the people, groups, or organizations that could impact or be impacted by the project, to analyze the stakeholder expectations and their impact on the project, and also to develop the appropriate management strategies for effectively engaging the stakeholders in project decisions and execution. So, this is about the stakeholder management. We have four processes in this project stakeholder management, that is, identify stakeholders, plan stakeholder engagement, manage stakeholder engagement, and monitor stakeholder engagement. Before going with these definitions, first we will discuss who is a project stakeholder and how this stakeholder management defines as per the PMBOK. Let's start. The PMBOK 6th edition says the project stakeholders are the individuals, groups, or organizations that may affect or be affected by themselves to be affected by a decision or activity or outcome of the project. They can be actively or passively involved in the project or with their interest may be positively or negatively affected by the execution or completion of the project. This is about the project stakeholder. We have examples such as customer, sponsor, team members, the managing organization, the end users, the public or the competitors. So these all people falls under the stakeholders. Hope you understood and who is this project stakeholder. Okay, coming to the stakeholder management. The PMBOK says the project stakeholder management includes the processes to identify the stakeholders, analyze the stakeholder expectations and their impact on the project, and develop the appropriate management strategies to effectively engage the stakeholders in the project decisions and executions. And also, it focuses on the continuous communication with the stakeholders, understand their needs and expectations, and managing the issues and conflicting the interests. Okay, hope you know understood who is a stakeholder and its definition as per the PMBOK guide. Okay, let me go with each definitions now, the processes involved in the project stakeholder management. First, with identify stakeholders. The process of identifying the project stakeholders regularly and analyzing and documenting the relevant information regarding their interest, involvement, interdependencies, influence, and potential impact on project success. This is about identifying the stakeholders. Moving to the second process, planned stakeholder engagement. The process of developing the approaches to involve the project stakeholders based on their needs, expectations, interest, and potential impact on the project. This is about the planned stakeholder engagement. Moving to the managed stakeholder engagement. The process of communicating and working with the stakeholders to meet their needs and expectations, address issues, and foster appropriate stakeholder engagement involvement. This is about manage the stakeholder engagement. Moving to the last process, monitor stakeholder engagement. The process of monitoring the project stakeholder relationships and tailoring the strategies for engaging the stakeholders through the modification of the engagement strategies and plans. This is about the monitoring stakeholder engagement. Okay, hope you now understood about each process definition. Let's move to the key concepts of the project stakeholder management. The key concepts we have academic research and analysis, identification, prioritization of stakeholder engagement, and the stakeholder satisfaction. Let me explain one by one. First, with academic research and analysis. This academic research and analysis of high profile project disasters the highlights the importance of a structured approach to the identification, prioritization, and engagement of all the stakeholders. This is about academic research and analysis. Moving to the identification, prioritization of stakeholder engagement. The ability of the project manager and the team to correctly identify and engage all the stakeholders in an appropriate way, which can mean the difference between the project success and the failure. And also, to increase the chance of success, the process of stakeholder identification and engagement should commence as soon as possible after the project charter has been approved. And also, the project manager has been assigned and the team begins to form. So, it has to be done before the project starts. This is about the identification and prioritization of the stakeholder engagement. Moving to the stakeholder satisfaction. The stakeholder satisfaction should be identified and managed as a project objective. Keep a note this, it should manage as a project objective. The key to effective stakeholder engagement is a focus on continuous communication with all the stakeholders, including the team members, and understanding their needs and expectations, addressing the issues when they occur, or managing the conflicting interest, and foster appropriate stakeholder engagement in the project decisions and activities. Okay, this is about the stakeholder satisfaction. Hope you understood about these key concepts of the project stakeholder management. Let's move to the trending and emerging practices. In the trends and emerging practices, we have identified stakeholders, ensure all team members involved in stakeholder engagement, reviewing the stakeholder community, key stakeholder engagement, value of stakeholder engagement. Let me explain one by one in more detail. First, with identifying all the stakeholders who are all engaged directly or indirectly to the project. And the second step, ensuring that all the team members are involved in stakeholder engagement activities. And the third step is we need to review the stakeholder community regularly, often in parallel with reviews of individual project risk. And next is we need to consult with the stakeholders who are most affected by the work or outcomes of the project through the concept of co-creation and capturing the value of effective stakeholder engagement, both positive and negative. And apart from this, we need to have a positive value can be based on the consideration of benefits derived from high levels of active support from the stakeholders, particularly powerful stakeholders. And the last point in this is the we need to consider as a negative value also can be derived from measuring the true cost of not engaging the stakeholders effectively and leading to the product recalls or loss of organizational or project reputation. So these all factors should be considered as part of the trending and emerging practices. Okay, hope you understood now all the trends and emerging practices of this project stakeholder management. Let's move to the tailoring considerations. In the tailoring considerations, we have the stakeholder diversity, complexity of stakeholder relationships, communication technology. Let me explain one by one in more detail. First, with stakeholder diversity. In this, we have to tailor how many stakeholders are there, how diverse is the culture within the stakeholder community. And moving to the second one, complexity of stakeholder relationships. In this, we need to consider how complex are the relationships within the stakeholder community. Example, the more networks a stakeholder or stakeholder group participates in, the more complex the networks of information and misinformation the stakeholder may receive. Hope you understood this. Moving to the communication technology. Here we need to consider what communication technology is available, what support mechanisms are in place to ensure the best values achieved from the technology, etc. Okay, this all about the tailoring considerations for the stakeholder management. Let's move to the next concept, the consideration of agile or adaptive environments. Here we have to consider 2 points. First, to facilitate timely the productive discussion and decision making, adaptive teams engage with the stakeholders directly rather than going through the layers of management. And the second point is we have to regularly interact with the stakeholder community throughout the project, mitigate risk, build trust, and support the adjustment earlier in the project cycle, thus by reducing the cost and increasing the likelihood of success for the project. Okay, hope you now understood what are the considerations for the agile or adaptive environments. Okay, let's move to the last topic, the activities involved in complete stakeholder management as per the Rita Mulchay chart. Let's go one by one. The steps involved here. First, we need to identify the stakeholders and determine their expectations and influence and impact on the project. Second, we need to request the changes. And the next is we need to develop the stakeholder register, and we need to determine the development approach, life cycle, and how you will plan for each knowledge area. And the next step is we need to determine the team charter and all the roles and responsibilities of the project and the project manager. We need to determine the team charter and all the roles and responsibilities. And moving to the next, we need to plan the communications and stakeholder engagement. And moving to the next step, we need to go back iterations if necessary. And next, we need to finalize all the management plans. And the next step, we need to develop the realistic and sufficient project management plan and baselines. And the next step is we need to request changes if required, and we need to update and use the issue logs. And the next step is we need to facilitate the conflict resolution, and we need to facilitate the stakeholder engagement and manage expectations. And the next step, we need to use and share the project knowledge, and we need to update the project management plan and the project documents and take action to monitor and control the project. And also we need to measure the performance against the other metrics in the project management plan. And also we need to analyze and evaluate the data and performance. And the next step, we need to determine if variances warrant a corrective action or any other change required. And next step is we need to influence the factors that cause the changes, and if required we need to request the changes, and we need to update the project management plan and the project documents, and we need to inform the stakeholders of all this change request, and at last we need to monitor the stakeholder engagement. So all these steps are involved in the project stakeholder management. Okay, hope you understood about all the topics which we have discussed in this session, that is an introduction to the stakeholder management, the processes involved in stakeholder management with its definitions, and the key concepts of the stakeholder management and the trends and emerging practices, the tailoring considerations, and the consideration of agile or adaptive environments, and the activities or tasks involved in complete project stakeholder management as per the Rita Mulchay chart. This completes our first session on introduction to the stakeholder management. Hope you liked it with the available information which I have prepared, and hope it is easy and understandable for you. Let's discuss more detail on the next process in the project stakeholder management. That's the first process, that is plan stakeholder management, in the next video. Kindly provide your feedback on the given email ID and subscribe my channel if you like this video and share with your friends. Bye for now. It's your Anil Kumar Dharam.